So Jamal Niaz here at For the Love of Horror with Monopoly Events, with one of the biggest horror icons in history, Michael Myers himself, the original Michael Myers. Nick Castle, how amazing has it been to interact with the fans? Your line has been the longest at the arena all weekend.
Well, it's been great. The fans are wonderful. Again, I get to meet a whole slew of new people here in Britain, and it's always fun to be able to, have the opportunity to meet new folks. So this has been great.
It is absolutely incredible, the effect it's had on the slasher genre in terms of horror, and John Carpenter, an icon as well. What was it like watching the film on the big screen for the first time, seeing yourself with the mask on, with the William Shatner mask as well,
That's right.
and hearing the iconic theme tune as well?
Well, the first time I remember seeing it was at a theater in Hollywood, the first week it opened, and I went to see how it was playing, and it was doing very well in terms of the audience reaction. So I just remember going, oh, good, maybe John will get another job out of this. So I called him and said, John, it's working. And he went, oh, good. It was like we were all kind of, just hoping that we would get another job out of this. That was about where we stood at that time. But it took a little while for it to roll out into being the kind of popular entity it became.
Because the mask, it's a famous story, isn't it? William Shatner mask from a prop store, eyes poked out, painted white. Now, when you put that mask on for the first time, did it feel significant? Did it feel like the beginning of a horror icon, or did it just feel like this is a day at work? We'll see how it turns out.
More like the latter, At this point, like I said, no one knew it was going to be a giant hit, of course, or last 45 years now. So putting on the mask was just like putting on the prop that you needed to put on, or the wardrobe you put on, and it was it worked easy on me. I think other people have said how tight or how confining or claustrophobic it was. It wasn't for me, so it was simple to do and simple to take off and on between shots. So it was, I was there really just to see John work and with a major crew. A real crew instead of a filmmaker crew, which is what we did back in film school. So it was quite a good education for me, but that's what I looked forward to.
And John Carpenter, he famously gave you very little direction apart from the head tilt. That was John's signal from the background off screen, but working with Jamie Lee Curtis as well. Did you sort of have conversations with her, say, listen, I am going to scare you. I am actually going to scare you, Jamie, because we need to get that emotion out of you. It needs to feel as real and visceral as possible.
No, there was nothing like that. Nor would I take it upon myself to have that conversation with Jamie. That's John's job as a director. For me, it was just, Jamie was just a young woman that was on the set. We had a good time. I remember mostly about Jamie as just having lunch, with her and the rest of the crew and the cast. And just having a pleasant time. As far as the work was concerned, it was all John manipulating us, telling us where to go, when to jump out of the shadows. And so I never thought it was very scary because I knew where I was at all times, So it's an odd thing to be, that deep into the project, into the drama of it, to not have any feeling for, how it's working. That's why going to the movies is great, because you can see, and talking to the fans is great, because you get a sense of a real reaction when you're not, from someone looking from the outside in.
100%.
Yeah.
And you were involved in the new trilogy. Obviously, it was James Jude Courtney it was sort of the passing of the torch moment between you two, and you were involved with some cameo scenes. But what was it like seeing Jamie Lee Curtis say goodbye to Laurie Strode as well? That must have been emotional, because that's kind of like the final door closing on your guys' story, personally for yourself as well.
Right. Well, I actually wasn't there for the final scenes. James has a great story about that I think you should talk to him about, because they really did have quite an important, special moment, going through that moment. It's not just the movie, it's a career for Jamie. It's like this started her career, and everything evolved out of that. And of course, she's done so many great things besides Halloween, but it had to be very emotional for her. I didn't see it, but like I said, James has a good story about it.
Did James and the other actors that have played Michael Myers over the years, are you the first port of call? They come to you and say, Nick, how the hell do you do this to your legendary status? How do we get Michael absolutely nailed on?
Not really, everyone took, kind of looked at the movie, and took the cue from what they saw. I didn't have to impart any special wisdom for them, and nor would I know what to say in particular. It was just, from my point, kind of instinctual, whatever I was doing to help create the character.
Finally, obviously the character is going to be immortal forever. There's talks about a potential TV show. There's talks about another remake or reboot. Where would you like to see the character go next?
That's a good question. I don't have any real opinions about that. I haven't thought it through, like as if I was going to be the creator of something, which is what I would do if someone said, hey, Nick, what's the next thing? And I'll give you $50,000 to give me a clue. But besides that, I think I'm hoping that Malik Akkad and the rest of the people that have ownership of the product go to another very good filmmaker, whether it's in TV or motion pictures. It's important to have a voice for the character. I'm not literally the voice because there's no voice, but the voice for the film, and I like that. I like that they did this trilogy because it gave one filmmaker their take on it. So I'm hoping there'll be more and more and more of those things.
100%. It's going to live on forever. You are going to live on forever in everything that you've given to the horror community. So I just want to say, on behalf of everyone, thanks for everything that you've done, and have a tremendous time in Manchester. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. I've had a great time already. Thanks.